Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're doing most outstanding. I want to welcome you to another one of our continuing series. As you all saw when we started this presentation, we were bringing people or we were showing you guys all of the different opportunities that you had to learn from us. So hopefully you picked up those bit.ly links. If not, I'll be sure to share them with you along with everybody. We're going to get started here just a minute. I'm going to share my screen. Hi, Brandley. There's one. We're going to put on our video. There's another one. Matthew, if you have video available, there he is. Super duper. Hey, everyone. So do me a quick favor. If you all don't mind, just quickly in the go-to webinar questions module, let us know that you can hear us loud and clear and that audio is in fact coming in. And of course that you can see the screen. I see that we have clear audio, and as you all can see, we have our guests, our panelists, our amazing friends on the line. And Matthew and Brittany, thank you both very much for joining us today. Can I get some quick audio from you guys? Matthew, say hello to the audience.
Hello, how is everybody? Everybody doing good? Yes.
Yes. I think they all said they're doing absolutely amazing.
I saw it. I felt the energy.
Yeah, Brindley, hello. How are you? Let's get a little audio from you.
I am awesome. Hi, friends. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody is awesome and has positivity and sunshine today. And Matt, Kevin, you guys look great.
Thank you. So, Brindley, how many webinars have you done this week already? It's Thursday. How many Zoom calls, webinars? I mean, I see you're everywhere. Tell me, how many are you on right now?
I'm averaging probably about 10 Zoom calls a day, 10 to 12. So I think today I've got the 5th of the day. So we're on our average through the day. I love it though. I mean, I was just talking to Seth Campbell and he's like, I'm zoomed out. And everybody's like, I'm zoomed out. And I'm like, I love it. I don't have to leave my house. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel like I'm at, if any of you have been to Keller Williams Family Reunion, I feel like I'm at Family Reunion and I'm trying really hard to get to all of the classes that are available, right? But it's impossible. There's so much education. I've literally gone to more classes, had more online training, and I'm a pretty learning-based person as it is, and I'm just blown away by the contributions of people. Tell me, Matthew, you and I were talking a little bit ago. I was saying that I had to stop the family from running the vacuum cleaner for just give me an hour so that I can do the webinar. You were kind of had the same story.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in my basement of my home because I don't have a home office in my house. So this has been the new norm for me. So to my right is a laundry basket full of towels that need to be folded, which I've become an expert at folding towels while also on the phone. To my left is a gigantic stuffed unicorn for my 7-year-old daughter. So, this is, I think, an incredibly productive bunker. We've adapted really, really well. It's just the new normal. This is where I sit every day. I have no idea how many Zoom calls, but it's hours. I know hours, 5-6 hours a day, sitting in front of a screen, talking, absorbing, sharing. I mean, a lot of Facebook stuff, much more than I'm accustomed to, but we're adapting. We're doing fine.
I love that. I love that. And I want to welcome everyone to this presentation. And just real quickly, Brandy, would you tell everybody who you are? And why you're here.
Yeah, so my name is Brindley Tecker, and I am the owner and founder of Your Realty Leverage. We are a recruiting, coaching, training, consulting company, primarily that focuses on leadership and real estate business operations. So, and then we also focus on the recruiting piece, recruiting leadership, team leaders, MCAs, and then admin, ops, all of that. And I'm also a coach. So previous MAPS coach for 3 years, primarily focused on operations. And I'm excited to be here. I'm very excited. I live in Tampa, Florida, at home with my 2 little doggies. I know how to, this is the first time I have folded towels in quite a while. I said this morning, I said, when the queen of leverage is washing her own dogs and cleaning her own house, you know that a pandemic has arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. I guess right now, dogs either there's two sets of dogs that are absolutely in heaven because they're spending so much time with their family. Dogs that are like, could you give me just a minute? Because you're the only one that's really just the other person. All right, Matthew, really quickly, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you can help.
Yeah, I mean, real simple bio. My name is Matthew Miali. I live in West Hartford, Connecticut. We're in Central Connecticut. I'm a real estate agent. I happen to have a team. We sell some houses. We do a pretty good job. I've been at this since 2010. The team and I are, we're just serving one person at a time every day, putting one foot in front of the other, and doing the best we can to deliver a ton of value to our customers. So it's a great gig. I love what I do.
Love that. I love that you love what you do. Now, you guys should see on the screen here. Let me put this on the screen here real quick. You all see on on the screen it says you still need to lead generate. You also see on the screen Bob Stewart. Bob wasn't able to make it with us today. He has been busy helping his Brivity customers and other real estate agents succeed in this business at its driving time, doing a great job with Ben Kinney, and we appreciate everything that they've done. Another thing you'll notice, it says you still need to lead generate, and would you two agree that this is not necessarily a call for only real estate agents? Would you agree this is a call for any business owner right now today that might be struggling, that is struggling in the business? Can you guys talk a little bit about that?
I'll jump on that, Kevin. You're the timeliness of you, and I have to thank Brindley for throwing my name in the hat, because I'm incredibly blessed to have the opportunity to talk about this. The timeliness was so spot on. I'm actually organizing a business-to-business seminar for other local businesses in our market to talk about navigating these changing times while we go through. And these are folks that we take for granted. You guys just talked about how much information we're being bombarded with. Well, if you're a local restaurant owner, coffee shop owner, you own a massage therapy studio, you have no idea. They don't have the collaboration, the information, and the resources that we do, or the community. And so I'm actually organizing a webinar that we're going to make a weekly webinar in our local market, where I'm going to be bringing panelists in and talking about people that are doing new and interesting things through this time, because those folks are really struggling. And yeah, the reality is the world has changed, but the job really hasn't, right? Like fundamentally, we are still in the relationship building business. And how do you do that? You do that through those magic words, lead generation.
100%.
Of that.
100%. I almost want to call it two different things: business generation, right, and love generation, right? I think you're dead on, Matt. My best friend owns, they own the International Diamond Center, and they have about, I think, somewhere like 9 stores all over the Southeast. And they've had to get creative in their marketing and in their lead generation, and they don't have the resources. So they actually sent me their radio ad and said, hey, will you listen to this before we go out? Because it's all about delivering a message right now that I think it can be difficult, right? For them, they're actually a resource for a lot of people to get cash quick. Yet they have to be really careful in the way that they're delivering that message in order to get the leads. And they don't have that collaboration like we do. I mean, Matt, you and I started talking about this in Kevin like 3 weeks ago. I mean, I'm going into my 3rd week of knowledge and information, right? So I think you're dead on. Absolutely.
Yeah, the shift, which initially I think took everybody, everybody was just sort of stabilizing, like, okay, what does all this mean? And I give a ton of credit to the leaders in our industry. And again, I feel incredibly lucky to have the right mentors around me, who very quickly we all said, okay, let's get stable. And then it hit me probably about a week and a half ago that once we've established that this new normal is the way that we're operating, the business really hasn't changed. Like it's just the delivery mechanism, right? The information exchange, the counseling, the coaching, the things that we do as real estate agents, the things that have separated us from our competition. Right now, all we have to do is change the content delivery system. And that simply needs to be virtual instead of in person. So we always did it a certain way. You just have to do it differently. But the message is the same. It's still, I'm here to help. I'm here to give you hope. I'm here to give you someone to talk to when you need to, and we're an advocate for you. Like ultimately, if that's the message, you're going to have more clients than you can count come the other side of this.
Yeah. And we have to treat it like love generation right now. It's calling and just loving on people. If we just love on people, the leads will come, right? The leads will come. If they're ready to buy, sell now, they'll bring it up, right? I said the other day, like, what's the biggest expense in most people's budget? It's their mortgage payment. And where did the entire world just get told they have to stay? Their houses. So at some point, the thought of their housing situation is going to come up. And you just want to make sure you're the one they call when those questions arise. So even though right now it might not be you're getting active leads off of those calls, you're setting yourself up for future business as well, right?
Yeah.
That statement literally gave me chills because it's just what you said is that we are the conversation is going to be so much easier. We always wonder, what do we say? And that really, this is what this is about. Conversation is going to become so much easier. And the more that we build on these relationships, the better the conversations are going to be. So not only are you going to have easy conversations, they're going to be more fulfilling conversations. I feel like.
Kevin, to that point, one of the other things I just want to add in here that's become really clear to me, if you go back 2 months, a lot of us had brilliant, great ideas, but we would be afraid to execute stuff, right? Like we don't want to get into action too quick because we're afraid, it might not be right, or I got to do it the best way. And we get kind of stuck in analysis, or paralysis by analysis. The world is so forgiving right now for you to do stuff that is terrible. Like you have a blank slate. No one has ever done this before, literally in any industry, right? So any idea that you've ever had, get into action quickly around it, because even if it's awful, you're still the first one to do it. Like no one's done this stuff before. So your audience, the people you're serving they're going to give you a ton of grace for just stepping on the field and we don't normally live in that world, right? That we're constantly under the scrutiny of judgment from the outside. And I believe that now that opportunity to fill that gap with action, there's so much forgiveness out there, because to Brinley's point, like it's a conversation of love right now. Everybody wants to boost each other up. So if you're the person that's going to step outside your comfort zone and go do something you never did before, you'll be amazed at how the feedback has been. And we've experienced that over the last 3 weeks. We've been doing all kinds of crazy things, and some of them terrible, but we're learning, we're just figuring it out. We're doing it and we're, that was weird, but let's do it again.
Yeah. I think it's so important. Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
No, I was just gonna say, imagine all the things we're gonna be able to add to our resume.
Yeah.
We're a virtual selling specialist. We're a virtual buyer specialist. We're able to communicate to buyers and sellers in a way that we never even thought of before, that we could have been doing all along. I mean, the truth is, people have been doing it all along. We assumed that's not what the public wanted, and now we realize, because we are actively doing this, that it's totally okay. Thank you, Brindley. Continue.
Well, I just think, going to Matt's point, right? Like waiting is not something we want to do right now. We don't know the velocity of this. We don't know how quickly it's going to turn. Like there's kind of like two separate ways to look at, we have the virus over here, right? Which is horrible and something we can't control. And then we have the economy, right? And we have the shift in that situation. And that is something that we can control. We have historical data. We have ways that we have seen that we have moved through that. We just don't know, because of this one over here, what the velocity of this one is going to be. So we have to go fast and we have to pivot fast. And, Ben, it's funny, as we've been working on our pivot plan, because clearly it's a great time to hire, but not a lot of people have the money to hire, right? Is that you don't want to create a pivot plan for long term, because the whole plan could change tomorrow, right? Thursday, Seth Campbell just reminded me, Thursday, the job report's coming out, right? 6.7 million more submissions for unemployment last week than has been. And what does it usually happen? What comes out right after they start talking about unemployment? What's the next topic they start talking about? The housing market, right? So those conversations are coming. Yeah, that's every time. It's unemployment first, and then we go to the housing market. And so I thought this was huge, and then I'll stop rambling, is that he made a really good point. If we get into acceptance about the worst case that can happen, and we can just go there and we can get into acceptance around it, then we're able to look at the news, the statistics as facts. And the facts are what get people certain. And that is what makes us the local economist of choice. So when we are talking to people and we are lead generating, we're giving them facts because we're able to look at the numbers and look at it unemotionally and look at it for what it is. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just reality, and it's just what it is. So acceptance is a huge part of, and then, you know, I'm in recovery, which a lot of people know, and it's always acceptance, serve others, lean on God, right? Like that's the formula. So sorry, that right there, it starts with us lead generating ourselves into a place of being able to lead generate.
Yeah, and no apology necessary. That's why you're here. And in fact, that's today's slide is our promises. I'm going to have each of you just give you what your promise of today's presentation is. My promise is that I have confidence that I brought two of the best people in the industry to have this conversation, and that we're going to have a lot of fun. Hopefully you all are already enjoying yourselves, and we're going to be on time. That's my promise. Brindley, what's your promise?
My promise is that I am going to give you all of the knowledge that I've been collecting over the 3 weeks. I'm going to tell you how much I love you and work on mindset and how you can shift your mindset. And I'm available to you after this, and I'm committed to being there for you to help you through this.
Outstanding. And remember what she just said. She's available to help you after this. Matthew, what's your promise?
I promise I'll open the playbook. You can see everything we're doing. We're moving really fast, and I will give you absolute clarity. I will give you absolute clarity that you literally have no choice but to move forward.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then your promise, you guys, since we're giving you a promise, you have to give us a promise. We want you to take 2 or 3 things that we can talk about immediately when we're done with the content. So pick up 2 or 3 things that really excited you, that you picked up from today's presentation. So that's your promise to us. We promise to you. And we're going to commit to that. All right, here's what we're going to look at and what we're going to say and what we're going to talk about is number 1 is what to say. That's the first thing we're going to go into, and we're just going to have a conversation with Brindley and Matthew about these things, who to say it to, because they're actually doing this. They're talking to people. They know what to say. And Matthew, you said it yourself. You're making some mistakes, right?
Oh yeah.
And we're going to right.
Yeah.
And we're going to learn from those mistakes. So we're going to know what to say, what not to say as a part of that. And then who to say it to. We want to make sure we reconnect with our database. And then we're going to talk to you guys about some ideas on reconnections. Does that sound good to everyone? Cool. All right. So let's move with the very first line here. And let's talk about know what to say. This is a tough time. I mean, would you all agree? I have a saying that is that was so February of 2020. Because before that, we could have called somebody and gone right into the scripts.
Yeah.
This is a business call, no time for chit chat. What's happening in your market? Do you want to know? Are you ready to go? No, thank you, bye, next call.
Yeah.
Is that going to work today?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I actually, if I can, I'm gonna give some credit to one of the guys on my team. His name's Chris Grant, and Chris kind of brought this to the table today for our team. He said it's got to be help and hope, and I really loved that sort of combination. And he said, you know, any dialogue that you're having have to be tied to help and hope. Either how can I help or how can I give you hope, right? That things are going to be okay. And, you know, the scripts, I think that's one of the gaps that we saw real early on that to me I thought was a huge miss, was people just basically rewriting the scripts to integrate the virus impact. And like, number one, knowing what to say is also knowing what not to say. And I think what you really don't want to try to do is run in and be a medical expert or another talking head or replicate information that's coming off the news or telling people, you know, about articles you've read on Facebook. I mean, I think that your only service function right now is really to lean into, I'm here to serve. in whatever capacity that means to you. And Brinley said it earlier, when you show up that way, you will unquestionably find the people that have real estate questions. They will make themselves emerge, right? You'll see them. They'll become visible because you're the only one that's calling with that message. And there are other. I literally got off a call this morning with a co-broke that I'm doing a transaction with, who called and he asked me, and I won't name the coach, and he's like, "Have you ever heard of this coach?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm familiar with him." And he was like, "Man, I am so turned off. They have just been pouring on us these scripts about calling people and trying to convert them into buyers and sellers right now." And it's like, that's the wrong thing to do. There's literally only one message, which is, we're here to serve when and wherever you need us to serve. And the yield will be exponential if you deliver that.
Yeah. I think we lost Brinley for a second. I still see your microphone on, Brinley. Can you say something to us real quick? Okay, she must have dropped off for a minute. I know she'll be back.
Yeah, no.
Okay, cool.
I can give you a couple of scripts that we've been using on the team too, just to share with anybody that's here. Obviously the first 2 weeks we really focused on getting everybody into what we were calling wellness calls. And the idea behind the wellness call was literally just to call somebody and check on their status, right? Their well-being, right? It was just like, hey, I'm just calling to see how are you, right? And that conversation would often lead to, a lot of dialogue around how they were, which is great because again, you're one of the people calling and doing that. We actually had a shift recently where now we're actually calling and we're moving back toward not having real estate sales conversations, but having a little bit more tactical dialogue. So asking people that you haven't spoken to in a while, these are not necessarily sphere calls, but maybe people that are on your Facebook, where are you living now? I hope that you're healthy and safe. What's going on with your work? Like, asking more specific questions that are grounding those people in the more tactical, the reality of the new normal. And those scripts are going to obviously open up conversations around how people are going to adapt to what's new, to what's different for them. Oh, like we all did it. We just talked about, I'm sitting in my basement with laundry to my right and a stuffed unicorn to my left. Well, everybody's got a story like that. And they're actually dying to talk to people. Like, there's so many people out there that are dying to get on a phone call with somebody that's not part of their work environment. It's a huge opportunity to get into these conversations.
I've heard a lot of people say they're picking up the phone. Go ahead, Brenda.
It's just a very, Matt, you hit on it, and I'm sure that you said it in my little tech glitch there, it's how are you doing? How are you feeling? What are you feeling? What's your family going through? Be honest, right? Just let them talk. And I think, Matt, you just hit the nail on the head. The conversations are getting longer, right? They're getting longer. They're happening more often. And I think that it really is just about how are you doing? What's happening in your life? How's everybody in your family doing? And how can I help? Is there anything that I can help you with? Right? Do you need a schedule for your kids? And we have so many resources that we can share right now with our clients. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. There's no shortage of opportunities to engage in dialogue right now. They're out, everybody's out there and wants to talk.
Everybody.
And if you can, the simple script that we've integrated, not just around grounding people in their tactical, but then also to tie people to real estate. Let me know if you have any questions about how this is impacting the real estate market. Like, it's not a statement, it's not a close. It's just, let me know if you have any questions about how all of this is impacting the real estate market. And that is turning into a lot of conversations that are, again, people are self-identifying. Like, actually, it's crazy you brought that up. How is it? How is the market? We were planning on selling the spring. We were thinking about, getting a bigger place. We were thinking about putting our investment property on the market. Is now a good time? Even the investors, right? So we know that investors, we all know them. We have friends who see this as a buying opportunity. They know that there will be some inevitable impact on the market in some way. And I've been getting those texts also and conversations like, let me know when prices start to look really attractive. They're out there. There are people. What's that, Brinley?
No, go ahead, Matt. Finish up.
Yeah, so those folks are out there, and again, the topic of this webinar is, in my opinion, it is the only thing, right? That fundamentally you won't bump into those opportunities unless you are having the conversations. And so too many people will go to sleep now, right? Like they'll just be like, well, I can't show property, I can't do this other stuff, I don't know what to say. Start with hello. Hello is a great place to start.
Bob Wall said, here's the best part about it too. And I just started a group when all this started, because I believe that we don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? We can pretty much R&D, research and development, or rip off and duplicate. And Bob, I think it's Robert Walseth or Bob Walseth in the Burgundy Group had an awesome, like love gen text and email. It's just a simple text that says, this is, Susie, real estate agent from XYZ Realty. I wanted to check in on my past clients, family, and friends. I was thinking about you and your family. It's scary times, but we're blessed to have family and friends to lean on. I am here if you need anyone to talk to. Stay safe and healthy. And then an hour later, he sends an email. So the first one's a text. The second one is an email, and it says, I wanted to check in on my past clients, business partners, family, and friends. I was thinking about you and your family. It's scary times, but we are blessed to have family and friends to lean on. I am here if you need anyone to talk to. Stay safe and healthy. And it's working, and the response is amazing. And I know we're going to talk here in a minute how to, when to communicate and how to communicate. Yet the call, text, email, comment, message is far more beneficial right now than it's ever been, because people want to know you care, and you don't have to call people every day anymore to show them that you care. You can do it in different ways. So I just loved those two scripts, because I thought throwing past clients in there brings business into it, yet it makes the main focus is how are you, right?
Yeah, what I love about that is that can work for any agent. I know I see the names on here. I know we have a lot of agents on here that have been in the business for a while. Some of them are brand new in the business. How scary of a time to be brand new in the business. And I say it's the most exciting time to be in this business. If you got in this business in the shifting market, and you saw success, you can do it in any market. So what I love about that is saying past clients, friends, family, regardless of how many past clients you have, even if you don't have any, that message is okay to send out. Get people to remember. The thing is that it's important for us to remind people that we're in real estate, mostly because they're gonna need our help when they need our help. Why would they want anyone else helping them out? They just may not remember us at that time. So we want to make sure we provide those little memory bits in their head, but in the best ways and in the most of contributable ways. Because Brindley, you said it yourself, we all have these things that we can provide to people that no one else can. We all have these specialties and these things, and even things we know about them that we can make sure that they're feeling good about. All right, next thing's then going to be, let's what do we say?
Who do we say
it to?
Okay.
So this one
too. Thank you. Let's start there.
This one is, again, I think we have so much opportunity inside of this that we've never had before. That, again, 2 months ago, we would craft a message for a subset of the population because you had to have a message that pertained to that group. Well, in today's climate, like, the message is actually really stinking simple. And it applies to almost every single person on the face of the earth, because we're all in a very similar circumstance. So who to say it to? I mean, human beings, right? If your message is, I'm here to help and provide hope, and I want to check and see how you're doing, you can say that to a neighbor that you've never talked to. One of the tasks that I assigned for my team, because we're very much living in this work out of the day, every day lead generate, is I said, I want you to identify 20 people that you went to high school with. I don't care if you're 55 or if you're 25, that you haven't spoken to since you graduated from high school, but you're friends with on Facebook, right? And I want you to send them a message to tell them you're thinking about them, share some funny anecdote that you remember about them from high school, and just let them know that let them know how to reach you and that you're here to help. That's all. Just reach out and say, I know it's been 20 years. I'm just thinking about you, going through my friends list. I hope you're doing well. Here's my cell phone. If you ever need anything, I trust you're safe and healthy. And call me if you ever need anything. Like, so simple. And one of my team members shared that he sent that script out and got 13 out of 20 people that he hasn't spoken to in 25 years responded to him. One of which actually said, it's so interesting you reached out. We were planning on listing our house this spring. He would never have reached out. So again, like, who to say it to? Anybody at all. That message lands. That message of, I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. There's no there. We don't have to be like, oh, let's create a circle prospecting script, which is specific to this particular neighborhood. We have so much permission now to just talk to anybody. And the people that do are going to have that rocket ship of a business whenever we're on the other side of this, whenever that is, whether that's 3 months, 6 months, or a year.
Yeah. So Matt, all great stuff. I mean, all good stuff. And I think too, like, it's the days when expireds would get 50 million calls, right, from realtors. Those aren't happening anymore. Like, the numbers are less. The phone, because not as many, it's the 80-20 rule, right? This is an opportunity for 20% of us to go claim 80% of the market right now, because 80% of real estate agents just are sitting at home on vacation, as our friend Ben likes to say, treating it like a snow day. A little trick that I always say when we're talking, when we're talking about contacts is, if you have an iPhone, I'm not quite sure how this works on an Android, so if somebody knows, let us know. But if you go to your contacts and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it will tell you how many contacts you have in your cell phone. So I have 1,730 contacts. Now for myself, I can probably guarantee you not all of these are in my database or in my privity. And so I would definitely recommend starting there with whatever information that you have, right? And I'm learning how, like, and then that's the script. How are you? And I've seen you in my phone and you've been in there for a million years. And now I'm just going to be honest and vulnerable, right? This should have happened way before now. And I have extra time and I'm just calling to catch up with people, make sure that I have their contact information, all sorts of ways to be able to do that. And like Matt said, it's communicating with every single human that would ever need to make a home buying, selling, or investment opportunity, and then some. People that may not even need to, but they will in 5 years, right? It's a great time to update the database.
Well, one of the things that became clear to me, and I've been using this language with the team, is that when our business used to be real estate, and much like we were reminded inside of Keller Williams, for those of you who are Keller Williams agents, you can remember when Gary Keller said, we're no longer a real estate company, we're a technology company. And everybody there was sort of like, well, how is that? I still show houses, I still list homes, like I'm still a real estate agent. Yes, true. But fundamentally, we all experienced that change in real time 3-4 weeks ago. Whenever your world changed, wherever market you're in, that's what happened. You stopped being in the business of real estate and you started being in the business of virtual relationship building. And that virtual relationship building business will translate into a tremendous real estate business. But for the next 30, 60 days, your only job is go build virtual relationships. And it's again, opportunity abounds if you do that, because you have technology working in your favor. You've got all these platforms where you can go out and do it and deliver the right message, which again, you've got forgiveness and grace around the message to do it. You'll go and accumulate enough relationships because you're serving, because you're caring for people, that your business will rocket ship. And to Brindley's point, 50% of the market, not anybody that's here, because everybody that's here is committed to growing their business, but the other 50% of the market out there, they haven't even thought about what they're going to do yet. They're waiting for somebody to say it's okay to go back outside and go do business the way it always used to be done. But in the meantime, those of us that are on this webinar, that are on 6 hours, 12 hours a day of Zoom calls, we're rebuilding the business into a virtual relationship building business. And that is effective, it's efficient, and it's going to turn into a huge real estate business.
I think the question becomes, how do I do it virtually? for everything in our lives right now, right? How do I do it virtually? How do I lead generate virtually? So if you used to lead generate through networking, how do I lead generate through networking virtually, right? If you lead generated through mom's clubs or through dad's clubs or through other things, how do I still lead generate virtually? You know, my 40th birthday is next Thursday. And at first I wanted to say, okay, we're just not going to celebrate my 40th. We're just going to stay at 39 for another year. Yet I said, how do we celebrate my 40th birthday virtually? So we're having a big, it'll be out soon. We're having a big virtual birthday bash with another friend who also has a birthday the same week. So again, like it's just getting creative. And I think the most important thing is creating space and time in your calendar to get creative around who you're going to talk to. Who is your target market right now? And because you have to quadruple your efforts and 4 times your lead gen, you need to have 4 times more people to talk to. So it's going to create more creativity in where you're going to find these people. So a great focusing question is, okay, how did I use to lead gen? How did I love to lead gen? And how do I do it virtually? And if you don't know, call my #1 strength finder is ideation. So if you ever want to bounce ideas, reach out to me. I'd love to help you.
And I mean, easy way to find you is on Facebook, right, Brindley?
Oh yeah, Brindley Tucker. And there's not a whole lot of Brindley Tucker in the world. Thank God.
There's really not. No. I'd never say that. We need more of you for sure. Well, that's beautiful. All right, now. Now this is key too. Would you all agree? Like when to say it? We know what to say. We know who to say it to. Is timing? I mean, timing's everything, right? I mean, and now is timing everything? It seems like time's going slow for some people. It's going fast for some people. Let's have a little conversation about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is more in alignment with the delicate messaging as opposed to the when you say it. It's just knowing it's those first 2 questions kind of hold the they're really the nut inside of this shell, because there are certain people that are really embracing this time, like the 3 of us and the people on this call, and saying, okay, I'm going to go as fast as I can and pivot as hard as I can. And there are other people that are literally paralyzed and in fear, and both are okay, right? Like we can all say, like, I know I deal with this type of challenge in the outside world by controlling what I can and going all in. And other people need to just say, I need a break. Like there's just too much and I'm in overwhelm. And so the when to say it is a little bit about knowing who your audience is, right? So I know that if I approach the wrong person with my, idea a minute, fast pace, we got to dive in, we got to go hard, that's going to scare the crap out of them and potentially even turn them off in a pretty big way. So the when to say it is more about knowing who it is that you're talking to, I think. And that's where, like the timing of all of it is yeah, maybe it just depends on how much coffee I've had. That's when. If I've had 2 cups, there's a certain audience. If I've had 3, there's a different audience. But the message, if the overriding message is help and hope and love and care, and that we're here to serve, there's really no wrong time to share that message. I think the trick is when do you, if somebody wants to shift into a real estate conversation, they may not be ready for a virtual a virtual consultation, right? That may be a bridge too far, and you've just got to be really cautious about who it is and what's their level of fear around the pandemic, around their own economic situation. And if you push too hard, you're going to lose a relationship versus earn one.
I think it's asking also, right? The first time you talk to somebody, I think it's, hey, when is the best time to connect with you? Because the mom that has 4 kids under the age of 10 that's trying to homeschool right now, calling during the day or reaching out during the day, probably not a great time for them, right? Yet when the kids go to bed after 8 o'clock, right, and she sits down on the couch and wants to have that glass of wine, probably a great time to connect with her, right? And to Matt's point, using the DISC and using the behavioral tools that you have to know your audience, to know that if you're going to talk to a high D about economic statistics, you're probably going to want to call them during the day when they're in work mode, when their brain's on fire and they're doing that. And then at night, like as a high D, when I'm shut off, I don't want to talk to you about business. Like I'm in like fill my head with things that don't make me want to think, right? If you want to, and this is so simple, if you want to throw a virtual happy hour, you're probably not going to do that in the middle of the day, right? Like, so it's don't overcomplicate it, don't overcomplicate it either. Like we started a prayer group for a bunch of agents at 9 o'clock on Tuesday, Thursdays, because it makes sense to start your day with prayer. We're not going to do it in the middle of the day. We might do it at the end of the day. Yet again, like, when does it make the most sense for the market that you're looking to target?
And I think that goes right back to Matthew's point. And when he said, we've always tried to, hopefully you all tried to gauge your messages to the people we were communicating to, so we could take a bunch, a group of people and communicate to them about a specific message and make it sound like we were talking directly to them. We could take another group. I mean, and that can still be done through in some ways, but when we're talking to people individually, we really have to think of them as individuals. And I find this is when a CRM, in my opinion, is imperative. This is why you need a system that, one, allows you to make sure you keep track of every single conversation you have. It has a capability to call, to text, to email, do all those three components that you talked about, just so that you make sure that you keep all of that data, if you will, and even it's people information, but it's still data to us. And it's important that way when we're having those conversations, again, especially if we're spreading ourselves out, we're able to have clear communication because we know what we talked about maybe the last time before. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was going to say, Kevin, on your high, also be, with high eyes are talkers, right? They want to socialize. So probably not a good idea to call high eyes at the end of the day. Probably a good idea to start with your high eyes and your longer conversations in the morning when you have more energy. Like Matt said, when you've got 3-4 cups of coffee and you're spinning, and call your Ds that you know are going to be shorter conversations towards the end of the day, because lead generation is longer, the conversations are longer. So get strategic around when you're calling throughout your day. And yes, Kevin, and that goes back to treating them as an individual.
Yeah, I wonder if we were to, doesn't Tony Robbins or somebody have a free DISC profile?
Yeah, you
send that out to your entire database. Do a fun Facebook post. People are always looking for something to do, right? You guys can totally take this idea, run with it, and then now you get a DISC personality on all your people, right? That you know in your world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then have a conversation with the way that they need to, and even have a conversation with them about it. I feel like if you are good at evaluating the DISC, what do they call that? There's a word for it, but you validating.
Yeah.
You could say, hey, I'd like to go through a DISC validation with you. How would you like to do that? What a great opportunity to get to know somebody, come from contribution, and remind them what you're really good at.
Genius,
I just blew my own mind.
That totally just made that was worth the price of entry, right? So this free
idea. Yeah, look what I just did. Yeah, look what I just did. I just took us to our next slide, purposefully unpurposeful. And that's reconnecting with your database. Here's a great way to reconnect with your database. We just gave you one, I'm going to say brilliant idea, only because I thought of it.
Go for it.
Tell me some other.
No one's going to debate that.
Okay, so a question came in before we do that from Liz that asked, how do you lead generate to people you don't know? One of the things, in case you guys didn't remember that one of you said this, was a genius. Liz, why don't you try to connect with those neighbors that you don't know? Can reconnect with them by checking on them, seeing how they're doing. I don't know how that's, you could create or go through Facebook or Nextdoor. That might even be an opportunity. Matt, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's never been an easier way to connect with people that you don't know, because we're on a level playing field from the standpoint of conversation, right? So there's an entry point, and that entry point, again, it's not the virus, it's the times are uncertain, I'm here to help. Like, don't go in with, when do you think the virus is going to end, or when is school going to start again, and oh my God, I don't have any toilet paper. Like, those are, yes, those are common messages, but those are not the ones that you want to be associated with. You want to be associated with I'm a local professional that wants to make sure my community is okay. And I mean, the people you don't know are going to be so receptive now. If you made that same phone call in December, people would actually think you might be crazy, right? Which is why we try to craft these messages around, well, you could say this, and we come up with all these really, tricky scripts to get people engaged in conversation. Again, I use them all. They're all excellent. So not disparaging that, but now your message lands so effectively, especially when you're authentic about it. I mean, in my neighborhood, I actually really care about what's going on in my neighborhood. I want to make sure the people around me are okay. That's my community. And then through and extending into the entire town that I live in, and then ultimately in the state, and so on. So you are a local service provider. You're part of the community. People in real estate are, we're out there. And so you delivering that message that to somebody that you don't know, that, you're here to serve, whatever they need, it's going to land well, and it's going to be received well.
I think that, Matt, you just hit the nail on the head. The second script behind How Are You is, as a steward of the community, we're reaching out to just see how everyone's doing. Right. And that just right there is, it just opens up. You are a steward of your community. You are the local expert. You are the local economist of choice. You have the knowledge, right?
Yeah. And there's ways to do this. Sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with brilliance. That's all. Continue.
There's ways to do this too. I mean, the couple of things that we've done in the last 3 weeks, which again, some mediocre, some better, some good. We immediately rolled out with a buyer seminar. The first week that we were under lockdown, I said, get me a couple of panelists and let's send this to everybody in our database, every potential buyer. I think we have 17,000 leads in our Brivity database, and every one of them got a copy of this and a link to it. And with almost no promotion. I think we sent one email blast less than 24 hours before we did it. We had 25 people attend this buyer seminar, which again, it was like a pretty, it wasn't the fanciest PowerPoint slide. Like, we just kind of threw it together, and I got a mortgage guy and an attorney to come on, and we had a conversation around what's happening in the market. 4 days later, we did a seller seminar. And it was better attended, and it created a number of virtual consultations that came out of that. And again, we improved on it. And inside of that seller seminar, which will now become a thing that we do all the time, was here's what's happened in the market this week, like your local news report. Like, here we just took 3 statistics: number of new listings, number of under deposits, and number of showings across, number of average showings per listing, which we use Showing Time locally, so we can pull that data. So it was just, hey guys, here was the crest, here was the path we were on, here's what happened with the number of showings, and then you can see the sharp drop off, right? March 16th it went here, here's what's that. So less people are going out. However, it was such a compelling story, because in that conversation, what we also found was that new listings coming on the market dropped by 31%. But under contracts only dropped by 1%. So the story to a seller, again, connecting with the database with a really important message. Hey guys, less inventory, but not so much less that the number of buyers that went away aren't still buying. Like, what a weird little window of opportunity to potentially get your house sold if that was part of what you wanted to do. Just kind of interesting information. So we're going to do that weekly. Hey, here's your weekly real estate market report, short video, and send it out.
I think it's Matt, it's knowledge is power, right? Like, people just don't know what they don't know. and they're trying to wrap their heads around how to homeschool their kids or how to cook. I mean, real life here, single girl, like, you know, it's really hard to cook for one person. Thank God I bought an air fryer before this whole thing started. It's like saved my life. Yet they're just trying to wrap their heads around that. They haven't even gotten to the point of wrapping their heads around how to buy, sell, or invest. And so these seminars are awesome. And I'll say, leverage your affiliates. Your affiliates, your lenders, your title companies, your escrow, your attorneys, they want to add value to you just as much as you want to add value to your clients right now. So leverage them. I love that Matt set up a panel, right? Number one, always open these things with safety. Start with your safety policy, because that's people's number one objection is, how is it safe? How can we do this safely with no contact? So you want to lead with that to get rid of that limiting belief objection right out of the way, so their mind is clear when you get to the knowledge. And then it's simple, right? Here's why it's a great time to buy, sell, or invest, just like Matt just described, and then go into your process. Here's our home buying process, our virtual home buying process. Here's our virtual home selling process. Knowledge is power. And then have your panelists talk about why mortgage is great right now. Talk about attorneys, about things you're putting in place and documentation to protect them throughout the process. Like, knowledge is power, and we just have to get the knowledge out there. And that's the fastest and easiest way to reconnect right now, is to help people know what they don't know, right?
Absolutely. That's perfect. And I think you said it in the very beginning. I just lost my train of thought. All right, we'll continue. Go ahead, Matt.
Let me bring one other thing that we started doing right away, which is just so quirky, but it's been incredibly fun. So as soon as restaurants shut down, I have a client and a friend who owns a pizza restaurant. And so I called him up and I just said, how you doing? And he was like, brutal. Sales are down 80%. You know, I had to lay off 90% of my staff. And I just said, well, how many pizzas could you make for me per night what could you do? And he was like, well, based on kind of curbside pickup we have, I could probably do 20. And I was like, awesome. So just make 20 pizzas for me every night. I'm going to buy them. For the next, for the foreseeable future. And what we do is every day we have 2 agents who get teed up, gloves, mask, Clorox wipes, the whole deal. And we go pick up 20 pizzas. And then they go deliver 10 different households each, right? So that are their clients. And so we've become like a pizza delivery service inside of our town. And, the crazy thing, which again, initially this started as, I want to support a local restaurant and client. And then how can I do that in a way that's also helping my other clients? Brinley brought it up multiple times. We have people that are balancing full-time jobs, homeschooling, and then all of a sudden they've got to make dinner at 5 o'clock. Like, the idea of a hot pizza showing up by surprise somewhere between 5 and 6, we have gotten messages from people that I was brought to tears by that show of kindness. The impact of reconnecting with our database with such a simple thing. And we're on day 4 of this. So we're on 80 or 90 pizzas at this point, right? So 80 or 90 households that we've just taken, and it's 10 apiece. Each agent shows up on the team, gets 10, they put them in their trunk, and they get their route, and they run around and they drop off 10 pizzas to 10 people that are in our database. And it's so simple. And by the way, how many real estate agents are loving sitting inside the house all day? No, we're not, right? So you've got to the thing is you're right on that line of there are certain people who are no, you're in full quarantine, you can't leave your house. It's that's actually not the case. Food delivery is happening all over the place. Just don't touch a doorbell. It's basically ding dong ditch, but you leave a pizza behind. You ring the bell, you leave the pizza, you back up, and you're like, hey, I brought pizza for you.
Don't go and stomp on it, right?
They have in Maryland, they have dogs delivering liquor because dogs can't carry it. So they have backpacks on the dogs, and the dogs go up to the front door. And, it's just, how do I do it with social distancing? Right? How do I do it virtually?
Virtually. It works.
Yeah.
It works. It's just been an exceptional experience, both for the agents and for our customers, and then the impact that you're having with such a small gesture on the community, right? So now I've got tonight it'll be 90 people who have put social media posts up thanking us. We just put a little flyer on top of the pizza box. We're supporting our community by supporting a restaurant. Dinner's on us tonight. And it's just powerful and simple and really, really gets you back into connecting with your database. Like, there's no real estate conversation in there. But when the topic of real estate comes up, these people are going to be like, oh, Matt's my realtor. He brought me pizza. Like, it's really that simple, right? So
Yeah, Matt just segued himself right into the next slide. Thank you for covering that. We have about 5 minutes left. Brindley, you have any? You did it, man. You killed. You have another one there, Brindley, that you can share with us on how you're connecting with people?
Yeah, I think that, we didn't really touch much on Facebook and social media groups. Everybody's been invited to probably 50 groups. I don't know about you, in the last 50 days, right? So it's getting purposeful and intentional in what you're creating, right? Finding something you're passionate about. Matt and his team clearly are passionate about helping local business and pizzas. And that's what keeps the consistency, right? And the stamina going to do it every night. If you're not passionate about it, you will most likely burn out. And consistency is going to be key here, because we don't know how long this will last. And so anything that you're going to do to connect, find something that you're passionate about. If you're passionate about social media, like Matt just said, what real estate agent wants to sit in their house all day? I'm more confident connecting virtually because I've been doing it so long than I am in person, right? So of course I'm going to be online more and doing more Zoom calls because that's where I get energy. That's what I'm passionate about, right? So finding what you're passionate about and turning that into your thing so that you're consistent. So come up with something. Are you passionate about dogs? Are you passionate about being a mom? Are you passionate about being a dad? Are you passionate about pizza, right? Like, whatever it is, and create a group that's going to build a community and a tribe of other people, like-minded people that are passionate about the same thing. And that's an awesome way to begin to connect through this. Start mom groups, dad groups, dog groups, right? Like pet happy hours, whatever it is that that you're passionate about, but make sure that it's something you're passionate about.
Yeah, that's that.
Right.
You nailed it, Brindley. Like, the key to that last comment you made is that a lot of people will see someone else starts a mom's group or starts a running club and say, oh, I should do that because that seems to work for them. Mm-hmm. But if they're not passionate about it, your inauthenticity is it's clear. People can see that. So it doesn't actually matter what you're into, because there's 7 billion people in the world. There's a group of people that are into the same thing, like the board game group, right? Like, if you're into gaming, like, it doesn't matter. There's a group of people out there who would really prefer to buy a home from somebody that shares some common interest. Like, that's how you create relationships. So you nailed it. Spot on.
Yeah. Know, like, and trust, right, Matt? People want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And you're building that likability with that common theme right off the bar. Like, you will not see me start a running club because I don't run. If I'm running, you should run to. I'm running to or away from it.
You should run to.
Yeah, like, not really my thing. So, and Matt's right. Like, I'm not an expert to give you any advice on running. I'm not passionate about it. So that might last a month if I were to do something like that, and then it'd be gone, right? And then all that time wasted.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I think I helped my bargain, my part of the promise, because I brought you two on this call, and you two did an amazing job. And those of you that are on the call, please send me some questions, or tell me the two or three things that you're going to put into action right now today, so that these two feel like that they really served you all. And it's important to understand we're providing this to everybody as a service, not only to you, but even to ourselves. I mean, do you feel really great after you get off of these calls, Brindley and Matt?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's all about helping each other right
do too.
now, right? And when I'll just end us on that with your mindset, right? If you're going into a negative place, the fastest way to get out of negativity and negative mindset is to get into the service of others. So just pick up the phone and ask somebody how you can help them, and immediately your mindset will start to shift.
That's right. I love that. Super. And real quickly, let's tell people how to get in touch with you guys, since you did offer to help anybody out. If
sure.
they had questions.
Yeah, just like Brindley Tucker, there's not many Matthew Mialis out there. So you can literally put my name in Google and find me everywhere. I tell clients that all the time. Look, if we ever run into a problem, I'm real easy to find. My name is literally on signs all over town. So my phone number is 860-416-1815. Anybody can text me or call me anytime. I'll definitely get back to you. You can email me at matt@the-miali-team.
Brindley Tucker.
All right, his name. Go ahead.
You can reach me by email, Brindley, BRINDLEY @brindleytucker.com, 727-512-9098 is my cell. And then also Facebook, I'm all over. So like you put Brindley in and you'll find me.
You'll find you, absolutely. Hey, I want to thank you both so much for being a part of today's session. And we have other sessions. Matt, are you a part of my session that we're going to be talking about a virtual industry contributor? Is that, are you a part of that one?
I don't, right. Not that I know of, but I'm happy to contribute however you need me.
We might have to have a conversation because you really provided us with some good content. All right, thanks everyone. I promised we would stop on time. Thanks for being here. Come back to our other sessions. I'll make sure you all are aware. You'll get a follow-up on email on this presentation, inviting you to others. Thank you again, Brindley. Thank you again, Matt. Have a super Thursday.
Thanks, Honor and a privilege. Bye-bye.